Washington Commanders 27. Los Angeles Chargers 10. 27-10. Commanders move to 3-2. Chargers fall to 3-2. Chargers got up 10-0 early and then didn't score after that. 27 unanswered from Washington to finish it. There were two massive swings in this game amongst, there was other stuff too, but Quentin Johnston with a big fumble when it was 10-0. Chargers were driving. That seemed to turn things around. And then just before the half, a punt return for a touchdown from Vlad McConkey negated by roughing the kicker in the end zone. The right call. Mm-hmm. But those two swings were, pretty big.
Yeah, they were. They were massive. The Quentin Johnston fumble, I have some sympathy for him. It was a tough play. Like, two guys sandwiched him. They were both pretty solid hits, and the ball just kind of popped out in the contact. It's like, it's a really tough play for him, but you do have to hold on to that, and he didn't, and that's a big turnover. Yeah, the sequence with the punt was crazy. I mean, they're Washington is punting from their own end zone. That's always a little bit tougher. Everything's condensed. It looked like the Chargers, they didn't get there. They feel the punt with Ladd McConkey, and then he returns it for a touchdown. So you're like, oh, wow, the Chargers have taken this punt, and they've scored. And this is just before halftime as well, so the swings are always magnified. And instead, there's a penalty on the play, so your touchdown's immediately off the board. Don't worry, we at least get the ball, and we're still in shape to get points. But no, the penalty is roughing the kicker, roughing the punter, and so not only do you not get your touchdown, you don't get the ball either, and Washington gets to keep the ball, and they get to try and put up points before halftime. And then right after that, you get the 50-yard bomb to Luke McCaffrey, and now we've changed the field. Now we have a real shot at getting points. So huge swing in terms of the points before halftime for them.
Big momentum swing even?
Yeah.
Big momentum swing. Yeah, the 50-yarder right after that, I mean, that was to just get the Commanders on the board before the half. That was huge. Beautiful throw, by the way. Jaden Daniels, beautiful catch by Luke McCaffrey.
And his first game back, obviously.
Yes. And Daniels looked fine. He looked fine. He looked solid in this game, 15 of 26 for 231. 39 yards on the ground as well. Bill Krosky-Merritt, they got him to the edge. It's another one of those, like, both things are true. I thought the Commanders, whose offense, by the way, with Marcus Mariota was pretty efficient in their last Raiders and Falcons games. They did a really nice job getting Bill to the edge, like just wide open to the edge. And I think the Chargers' run defense, I think Derwin was caught out there on one of them, just allowing way too much room for the run game. But that's been kind of a staple of the Cliff Kingsbury offense, even during his Arizona days, is getting running backs into space and having a sneaky good run game. And then you have Bill Krosky-Merritt, who could take it to the house. So he had 14 carries for 111 and 2 touchdowns. And so I thought the run game for Washington was huge. But yeah, those two big swings in the forced fumble and then the punt return were massive for the Commanders.
And the other one that was huge was the interception, which was like the Chargers are trying to cut it to 3. They're in the red zone. It's another one of those batted pass interceptions. That's a huge play. I mean, at that point, I think if the Chargers score in that drive, you're like, I kind of like the Chargers to win this game still. And instead, it's a turnover. That's a massive play for Washington to survive. They keep it going. Marion Hampton left the game with an ankle injury, didn't come back as well. That's a concern for the Chargers. He kind of got clipped on his way out into a passing pattern. It didn't look that bad, but he didn't come back. So that's not great for them.
Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed. So let's change that. Hit that subscribe button. And now let's get back to the action.
And then the other thing we got to bring up is the offensive line that the Chargers are dealing with. So if you count Rashawn Slater as one starter, they were down to their third string player at 3 separate offensive line spots. So we did this number one, they used 7 offensive linemen in this game. That's immediately bad, right? Before you even mention names, that's a problem. The 7 offensive linemen in question are left tackle Austin Deculus, right tackle Trey Pipkins, who played 23 snaps before leaving, right tackle Jamari Sawyer, who's a backup, Bradley Bozeman, Mekhi Becton, who left the game, Foster Sorrell, and Zion Johnson. That's a group that can't function.
This is why I'm trying to give credit to the Cowboys for
Yeah.
for surviving this type of. Like
Right.
they've had similar offensive line issues as the Chargers. The Chargers have not been able to overcome this.
And I think most teams can. Like it's you're right to phrase it that way. Like it's definitely an endorsement of what Dallas is doing, because I think this offensive line, generally speaking, is just not functional for most teams in the NFL. And there's a few teams that are dealing with this type of offensive line, and it's basically just immediately curtains for the offense.
Yeah, that it's difficult for the Chargers right now. And look, Dorrance Armstrong, a couple nice rushes. I think he had 2 sacks in there. Washington took advantage. They, blitzes got home. Like they were causing problems, and that interception in the red zone, as you said, huge swing in the game. So all of the high leverage plays, Washington either went their way or they earned it with a forced fumble or an interception. Yeah. That the interception was 7:44 left in the fourth, as you said, like a 10-point game. If they score,
it becomes a 3-point game.
Yeah,
game on.
Anything, yeah,
and
absolutely.
that was Johnny Newton, I think, getting the mid on it. And
yes,
Johnny Newton's signs of life from Johnny.
It is. We have seen Truzan or Johnny.
Yeah,
nice play by him. And so yeah, Washington 3-2 now, and the Chargers fall to 3-2, second straight loss for them against the NFC East, Giants and the Commanders. Isn't the NFC crushing the AFC this year?
Yeah, certainly was last week. I can't imagine.
So the Broncos holding their own though.
Right.
They took care of it.
Did you see Jim Harbaugh's hat?
No.
I think Dave Portnoy tweeted it out that it's like never in the history of humanity is a hat less fitted a human than the hat that Jim Harbaugh is wearing. It's like the same size as his head. So you got like just Jim Harbaugh's fairly square-looking head to begin with, and then this hat that's like the same size as it's the most ridiculous-looking thing. I think I retweeted it, so if you just go to my Twitter, you can find it. It's pretty funny.
He seems like the guy that should rock the 90s starters gear.
Well, that's kind of like what it was. Like, know those old hats in the 80s and 90s where they were almost designed not to fit? There were just these huge hulking things that people would wear, and it only worked if you had like a huge massive hair, which they did in the 70s and 80s, right? But if you put them on a head, like without the hair, it just didn't fit. This was like one of those hats, only it sat on Jim Harbaugh's head. Like, I don't know where he got that as a hat.
Oh, I love it. So, yeah, the Chargers they looked like one of the best teams in the league after 3 weeks. And not so much the last couple of weeks. The turnovers last week with the Giants, the high leverage plays going against them. And same thing in this week against Washington. Commanders doing all this without Terry McLaurin. Again, Deebo Samuel, 8 catches for 96 yards. They got the big play from McCaffrey. And, of course, Bill making plays in both the run and pass game for Washington. Anything else on this one? Don't sleep on the Commanders like I may have.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Now that Jaden's back.
Jaden makes a huge difference to them. They had a good game. It was one where I felt like, the Chargers maybe would have won this game, but for the high leverage plays going against them. And they have that obvious flaw of the offensive line is so banged up right now. They're just dealing with real problems. But Washington looked good. They took advantage. They made the plays when they needed to, and they went away at the end.
And then a reminder on the ebbs and flows of the season. If the Chiefs win tonight, there's 3 teams at 3-2 atop the AFC West. Where just a couple weeks ago, the Chiefs were 2 games behind the Chargers. Right? These things can move pretty quickly early in the year.
That's the thing. I think 3 teams, including them, and they were dead and buried 5 minutes ago. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?